We are live. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah. We are live. I want to see. Man. Oh, I actually got an email about me being live on YouTube. That's crazy. I didn't get no notification yet. Let's see how long it takes for the notification to pop up. I should be live on Facebook right now too. Let me see right quick. Hold on. We are live. This thing is loud. I'm gonna put it down just a little bit. We are live. Oh boy. This thing is loud. I'm gonna put it down just a little bit. All right, this should be good now. We should be good now. I was on mute the whole time. Yeah. I was on mute the whole time. Yo, that's on mute the whole time. Wow. Okay, we are live on YouTube. I checked Facebook and Twitch, so we good now. All right. All right. Let's do this. Before we get started, as usual, I would like to give all glory to my Lord, my Savior, and my God, Jesus Christ. All right, the one and only. Let's go. Let's do this. Oh boy. Another one. Man, I'm late today. I was doing some things, feel me, with the family. But I am back. We got Jennifer in the chat. What's going on? What's good with you? How your been? We are live on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. We're gonna get started with this one. This one should be interesting. So this one is titled "She Trusted Her Favorite Cousin. What he did next, pure evil." Interesting. Okay. We're gonna jump straight into this. All right. Chill. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All glory to the Lord. We are still breathing. All right. That's all that matter. But yeah, we're gonna jump straight into this. Let's do it.
January 4th, 2022, 1 a.m. A security camera mounted above the front entrance captured a chilling moment that would haunt investigators.
I don't know, like I've been watching these body cam videos or these crime videos. Some of them look like AI, like they got some real footage, I think, mixed with AI. This look AI to me, like.
For years to come, a young man entered his apartment with another person, a 17-year-old girl, his favorite
Look
cousin,
how they moving.
the girl
That's
who trusted
AI.
him completely. Later, the footage showed him backing his white sedan into the driveway, carefully, methodically, the trunk now facing away from the street, hidden from view. Minutes passed. Then, the car drove away into the darkness. When it returned, less than 10 minutes later, the trunk was empty. But the girl who had entered that house that night, she never left. Not through the front door, not through any door. And what the cameras didn't capture, what happened inside those walls during those crucial hours, would become the center of one of Detroit's most disturbing murder cases.
Oh, that's in
a
Detroit.
Case where the truth was buried not only in a landfill, but beneath layers of lies from someone who was supposed to protect her. Because sometimes, the person you trust most is the one who means you the greatest harm. Sierra Milton woke up on the morning of January 5th, 2022, with a gnawing feeling in her.
Everybody is capable of evil. All right, I don't care if you're a family member, a wife, a brother, a sister, but anybody is capable of that. So,
her gut. Her eldest daughter, Zion Foster, hadn't come home the night before. The 17-year-old's bed sat empty, untouched. For most mothers, this might trigger immediate panic, but Sierra knew her daughter's history. Zion was a high school senior at East Detroit High School, bright, spirited, and admittedly rebellious. Just months earlier,
wait, I gotta go back.
The person you trust most is the one who means you the greatest harm. Sierra Milton woke up on the morning of January 5th, 2022, with a gnawing feeling in her gut. Her eldest daughter, Zion Foster, hadn't come home the night before. The 17-year-old's bed sat empty, untouched. For most mothers, this might trigger immediate panic, but Sierra knew her daughter's history. Zion was a high school senior at East Detroit High School, bright, spirited, and admittedly rebellious. Just months earlier, she'd celebrated her 17th birthday in November. Like many teenagers testing boundaries, she'd threatened to run away before. Twice the previous year, frustrated with her mother's rules, she'd actually done it. The first time, 16-year-old Zion fled to her grandmother's house. Convinced to return, she stayed only days before leaving again, prompting Sierra to call the police. But both incidents proved to be false alarms. The teenager was struggling. Her grandmother's recent cancer diagnosis weighed heavily on her. Independence called to her like a siren song. But this morning felt different. Zion had worked her serving shift at the Detroit Wing Company the night before. She'd come home. She'd asked permission to go out afterward. And here's the thing she'd been honest about: where she was going and who she'd be with. Her favorite cousin, Jalen. Sierra trusted him. She'd watched Zion leave with him at least twice a month for the past year. She'd greeted Jalen herself in the driveway when he picked her daughter up. Sierra had agreed. She watched Zion walk out the door shortly before 11 p.m. That was the last time she saw her daughter alive. The text message came from Vertez Gonzalez, Zion's boyfriend and fellow high schooler. Had Sierra heard from Zion? Because he couldn't reach her anymore. The last message he'd received came at midnight, 3 simple letters that now haunt everyone involved. On my way. On my way. But Zion never made it home. Calls went straight to voicemail. Messages throughout the night sat undelivered, trapped in digital limbo. Finally, at 8 a.m., Vertez sent a message that captured his growing dread. Are you alive? followed by, "This is the worst thing ever." Sierra immediately reached out to Jalen Brazier. If anyone knew where Zion was, it would be him. They were close, practically inseparable, or so she thought. Jalen's response stopped her cold. He hadn't seen Zion. In fact, he claimed he hadn't seen or spoken to his cousin in years. 3 years, to be exact. Sierra's mind reeled. How could that be possible when Jalen had been in her driveway just weeks ago? When she'd watched her daughter leave with him twice a month, when Zion specifically told her she was spending time with her favorite cousin? Jalen pressed her. How often had Zion claimed to be with him? Once or twice a month, Sierra confirmed. His response came laced with frustration. Zion's lies about him were sneaky as hell and not safe, he said. She must have been using him as cover, spending time with someone else who lived near his house. He even offered evidence. Zion shared her location with boyfriend Vertez, a fact born from his admitted insecurity about their relationship. That location data placed her across the street from Jalen's home at 11:24 p.m. on January 4th. Vertez, ever vigilant, had screenshot his girlfriend's location at that exact time. So Jalen's theory seemed plausible. Maybe Zion was seeing someone else on his street. Maybe she was using his name as an alibi. There was just one problem with this theory. It was a complete lie. East Point police weren't exactly rushing to help. Sierra's missing person report met bureaucratic indifference. Her daughter had a history of running away, they reminded her bluntly. The officer handling the case didn't mince words. "I'm going to be honest with you. We're taking this as she's a runaway." Receiving little support from law enforcement, Sierra took matters into her own hands. Family and friends rallied. They posted flyers across Detroit. They held rallies. They spoke to anyone who would listen. The media picked up the story. "We need your eyes," Sierra pleaded to cameras. "The police need your help." Meanwhile, officers eventually made their way to Jalen Brazier's home. They found him there with his longtime girlfriend, Katrina Smith. The 23-year-old father of 2 young boys, ages 1 and 2, seemed cooperative. He invited officers inside to look around. His story remained consistent. He hadn't seen his cousin in nearly a year since May 2021, he claimed. It was Zion's mother and her boyfriend who seemed fixated on this idea that she'd been with him. He'd even offered to show Sierra his Ring camera footage to prove Zion was never there. When Sierra examined the footage, she noticed something. Gaps. Missing entries for the night of January 4th. Obviously deleted, she thought. But police found nothing suspicious in their search. No signs Zion had been there. They listened while Jalen explained his frustrations over being dragged into drama caused by a 17-year-old cousin he rarely saw anymore. "She's known to be a runaway," he told officers, his voice rising with apparent exasperation. "Like, she's run away 4 times. Every time she's at some dude's house. Her mom knows this. Her mom's just playing it a certain way, and it's making me so uncomfortable." The officers left, seemingly satisfied. But Sierra Milton knew better. She'd seen Jalen in her driveway.
Wait, what about the
She'd
phone
hugged him.
though?
She knew he was lying. The question was why. Sometimes the simplest solution cracks a case wide open. If Zion's location data placed her across from Jalen's house, why not check the neighbor's doorbell cameras? The footage told a story Jalen desperately wanted to hide. At approximately 11:15 p.m. on January 4th, a white sedan, the car known to be driven by Jalen Brazier, pulled into his driveway. 2 individuals emerged, clearly visible walking into the house. 1 male, 1 female. Now, Jalen had driven his girlfriend Katrina to work just before 11 p.m. that night. She worked the midnight shift at a manufacturing job 11 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Hey, you think you're the only one with a doorbell camera? All right.
The second individual entering the house at 11:15 couldn't have been Katrina. Phone location data confirmed what the camera revealed. The 2 people entering Jalen's home that night were Jalen Brazier and Zion Foster. The camera never showed Zion leaving. But at 1 a.m., that same camera captured something chilling. Jalen's car pulled out of the driveway, then backed in. The trunk now faced the backyard, hidden from view. After a few minutes, the car drove off. It returned less than 10 minutes later. Search warrants came swiftly. Inside the house, nothing. The car's contents were carefully itemized and examined, but there was no clear evidence of what happened to Zion. That is, until law enforcement brought in the canine units. The dogs indicated clearly at the trunk of Jalen's car. The unmistakable scent of death lingered there. On January 19th, accompanied by a friend who happened to be a lawyer, Jalen voluntarily sat down with detectives. The evidence against him had become overwhelming. It was time, his lawyer must have advised, to get ahead of the narrative. Jalen offered what he claimed was the truthful version of events from that night. Yes, He'd picked up Zion from her home. Yes, he'd brought her back to his place. He put his 2 young children to bed, then joined Zion downstairs in the living room. They talked about normal teenage things.
So why you had to lie? You haven't seen her in a year, you say. Like, what happened there?
Her improving relationship with her mother, her boyfriend, plans for prom, her job, dreams of getting her own apartment. They used some recreational substances together, he said. Then Zion got sleepy. Her head tilted back as she appeared to nap while sitting upright on the couch. He went into the other room to pour himself a drink. When he returned 15 to 20 minutes later, something was wrong. Her pulse was faint, he claimed. Then her heartbeat became non-existent. His young cousin had simply died on his couch, just like that. Instead of calling 911.
Bro, that's how they always catch them. Like, okay, now they know that, like, she was in the house with me. Now I gotta make up another lie that I did not kill her, but she just ended up dying just like that. I've heard that too many times, man.
Jalen said he panicked, not knowing how she died. He feared it would appear as though he'd killed her. So he made a choice that would haunt this case. I put her in my trunk, he told detectives, his voice steady and matter-of-fact, and I took her to Highland Park and put her inside of a trash receptacle, and I left. Detectives.
What? You digged your own grave. This is your family member. This is somebody you so-called love. They died on your couch. Instead of calling 911, you put them in the trunk of your car and go and dump them in the trash. Really? You want me to believe that she just died just like that and you did all that after? Treat her like a garbage, not even like a animal, like a garbage.
Pressed him. How did he know Zion was actually dead? According to his story, the 17-year-old had inexplicably and abruptly stopped breathing. But was she truly gone? She wasn't breathing, Jalen insisted. Her heartbeat was like I couldn't read a heartbeat, couldn't feel a heartbeat or anything, so I would say she was dead, definitely. The timeline matched disturbingly well with other evidence. Jalen claimed Zion had been at his home for roughly 2 hours before she died, placing her time of death just past 1 a.m. Cell phone records showed her device dropped off the network at exactly 1 a.m., the same moment she stopped responding to messages from Vertez. Jalen also claimed he hadn't deleted any data from his phone since that night, but investigators discovered he'd performed a full factory reset just 2 days later, effectively wiping everything from his device.
Oh
Still,
boy.
the movements of his phone could be pieced together through cell tower data. This placed Jalen at the dumpsters in Highland Park at 1 a.m. He led detectives to the location where he claimed to have left Zion's body weeks before. There was no longer any sign of her there. The trash had long since been collected and compacted. Sierra Milton's world shattered when she learned what her nephew had done. He said that my baby just died, she recounted, her voice breaking, and then that he threw her in a dumpster, like she was trash. When Jalen sat down for a follow-up interview the next day, January 20th, his story began to change. Now he claimed they'd taken hallucinogens that night. The powerful substances must have caused her heart to stop, he suggested. This explanation was about as medically plausible as his previous assertion, which is to say, not at all. The detective saw an opening. Perhaps Jalen would use the drugs as an excuse for his actions, for whatever steps he took to end his younger cousin's life. Did you have like a freaking momentary, like, didn't know what you were doing moment? The detective pressed. The problem with those substances is when you're on them, you don't know what you're doing. Did you do something? But Jalen wouldn't bite. I was completely comfortable, he insisted. The detective failed to elicit a confession. Without this admission and without locating Zion's body, there wasn't enough evidence to proceed with a murder indictment. Jalen was placed under arrest anyway for one count of lying to police. His false statements had actively deceived investigators about Zion's whereabouts, her health and safety, and his interaction with her. It wasn't murder.
This is his lawyer?
But it was something. The search for Zion Foster
Bro, you are
became one of
going
the
to
most
jail.
extraordinary efforts in Detroit law enforcement history.
I mean, you
Garbage
was
collection
already
trucks
gonna
working
go
in
to jail.
Highland
So
Park were tracked to specified
doesn't
areas
matter.
in local landfills. An estimated 8-week project was launched to sort through literally mountains of waste from all over the Detroit area, compiled over several weeks. Dozens of volunteers, mostly wearing masks and hazmat suits, assisted by heavy machinery, picked
This
through
is
layer
crazy,
after layer
man.
of the landfill, systematically, methodically. looking for any sign of the 17-year-old girl someone had thrown away. We're doing what's right for the right reasons, officials announced. And we're going to do everything we possibly can to bring some degree of closure. Will never be complete closure, but some degree of closure and justice to this family. Meanwhile, Jalen Brazier faced up to 4 years in prison for lying to police. The
4
Detroit Police
years?
Department, assisted by the FBI, continued seeking a warrant for murder. At his sentencing for the lying charge, Jalen pled his case.
Lying, but he literally got rid of a body. Isn't that a crime? He admitted to doing that. Even if
turn
he
myself
didn't do
in.
it,
Yes,
like
I
if he
lied.
didn't commit
But I was not in the right state of
murder.
mind. There was no way for me to prepare for a situation like that. I was scared. I don't know exactly how she passed, what caused her to pass. I just know 1 minute she was cool, she was fine. She laid back for a minute. Next thing I know, she was dead. The judge wasn't having it. You think she dies and then you dispose of her body?
Nope.
Just like that? That was your choice? Jalen tried to explain his panic,
Doesn't work
his confusion,
like that.
his fear, but the
The
judge cut him
logic
off.
of it.
Stop it. I won't have any conversation in this courtroom. Jalen Brazier was sentenced to 23 months in prison. While incarcerated, Jalen's phone calls home to girlfriend Katrina and other family members were monitored closely. He occasionally used another inmate's calling code in a failed attempt to keep conversations private. He also possessed a prohibited cell phone, which he used to exchange thousands of messages with Katrina. Repeatedly, in his calls, Jalen would ask if anything major had happened. This seemed to be poorly concealed code. Was he asking whether the massive landfill search had found anything? Or anyone? The most logical and possible one right now, he told Katrina in one recorded call, is that there's nothing major. Nothing major is new. And due to that, there's a last effort to put together any types of anything. His relief was palpable.
Bro, look. Dude been lying since the beginning. All right? That means he did it. If it was an accident, he would have called 911. All right? When you're not guilty, you got nothing to hide. Like, the first thing you do is call 911. That's not enough time at all. That's why I could not have been a judge. I mean, I can see, like, in essence, when people say, like, there's no justice in this country, I can see it in this sense right here, in this specific incident, you know? Cause, bro, if I was a judge, bro, I'm throwing the book at you, all right? I ain't no dummy. I know what happened. Like, I don't know, like, how you did it, but I know that you did it. You just don't want to go to prison because you know the lack of evidence is not gonna be enough to send you away for a long time. All right, that's why. Come on, like it's clear
Keep
as
your
day
head up.
he did
Don't say
something.
nothing. Think about that for a moment. If Jalen's story was truthful, if Zion had died abruptly from some unknown and nonviolent cause, then there would be every reason for him to want her found. Finding Zion would exonerate him.
23 months.
The quicker the better.
Crazy.
Wishing for her discovery should also be the sentiment of a loving cousin who cared about his family's peace of mind. Instead, over and over again, he expressed relief that no major developments had occurred in the search. As the final days of the landfill project approached, he began referring to it as a search for COVID. It was supposed to stop the COVID thing, he told Katrina cryptically, and it's not searching for COVID, so usually there's an update before that, but actually nothing. So don't worry about nothing. Jalen served just over 9 months before being granted early release through a special 90-day incarceration program, a boot camp designed like a military program where inmates convicted of certain crimes can better themselves and earn early release. It had been nearly a year. Zion had not been found. An indictment for murder had not been sought, and now the prime suspect walked free, returning to his home and his family. Sierra Milton's anguished question echoed through the community. Why is this man free? What can I admit to this and still be let free? Jalen Brazier's freedom was short-lived. On June 13, 2023, after a year-and-a-half investigation, the Detroit Police Department was finally granted a warrant for arrest.
Hey, something is like just popped up in my head like right now, like bro. Hey, only if Dexter was around. Yo, that's crazy. Evidence on her body. Yeah, I don't know if they found any bodies. That's what I'm trying to see. Like, I'm hoping they found a body at the end of this video. They found a body, and then they find some more evidence to literally lock this man away for life. Come on.
The 24-year-old would face charges of second-degree murder as well as tampering with evidence.
Wait, what
Upon his
happened?
arrest, 2 additional
Hold on, what
September
happened?
13th, 2023, after a year-and-a-half investigation, the Detroit Police Department was finally granted a warrant for arrest. The 24-year-old would face charges of second-degree murder as well as tampering with evidence.
He thought she was
Upon
free.
his arrest, 2 additional cell phones were seized. Despite the factory reset Jalen had performed on his device, investigators made a breakthrough. His search history had been held in cloud storage. On January 7th, 3 days after dumping his cousin's body in a dumpster, Jalen had performed a series of revealing Google searches. Are garbage trucks also crushers? What is the force of the machinery? How do police get your phone history? How do you know if police are watching you? But that wasn't all. In the months before the incident, Jalen had performed numerous disturbingly suggestive searches for adult content involving taboo family dynamics. Experts retrieved the video results of these searches. Some were reportedly very violent, as well as disturbing in nature. The digital evidence painted a dark picture of a man who...
Yeah, man, stay away from those videos. Stay away from pornography, man. It's just gonna dig to a deeper hole, something you never thought you would be watching. Just stay away from it before you get addicted to it. Hey, I was in that space, like I was in that mindset, and thank you, Lord. The Lord saved me, man. So I am blessed and very grateful.
Been fixating on his teenage cousin, then scrambling to cover his tracks when something went horribly wrong. As the case approached trial, a preliminary hearing offered insight into the defense strategy. Vertez Gonzalez testified that he believed his girlfriend was taking regular medication for epilepsy. Zion had told him she suffered seizures, he said, and without her medication, they became more frequent and severe. He'd even witnessed what he thought might have been a seizure, Zion, becoming momentarily faint, slouching forward before regaining her composure after just a few seconds. The defense had found their angle. Perhaps Zion's medical condition led to her death suddenly in Jalen's living room. Maybe she'd had a seizure. There was just one problem with this theory. Sierra Milton, whose youngest child was in fact diagnosed with epilepsy, testified that Zion had never suffered a seizure. Hundreds of pages of medical records covering years of treatment supported Sierra's assertion. Nonetheless, Jalen Brazier's version of events was now being framed in this new light for the jury. The trial lasted 2 full weeks in May 2024. Jalen chose not to testify. The state called 32 witnesses. The defense called none. Prosecutors revealed evidence that shocked even seasoned courtroom observers. Zion's old cell phone, safe at home because she'd gotten a new one, contained months of correspondence between her and her favorite cousin. Over 4,000 distinct texts were retrieved. The messages Jalen sent ranged from subtle and unsettling to highly inappropriate. At times, they were romantic in nature. He routinely invited her to his home while his girlfriend was away. He offered to put her up in his basement if she ran away. He advised her on how to evade police if she disappeared again. Wayne County Assistant Prosecutor Ryan Elsey described the texts as pervasive, at times complimentary of her intelligence and looks, at other times probing in an immature way. Jalen suggested to Zion that other people thought they were a couple. He claimed Katrina was jealous of her. He bragged about how easily he could be with women. At one point, he called himself a god. Prosecutor Elsey concluded by telling the jury that the 23-year-old had been systematically manipulating his younger cousin for years, that he had fantasies about her, and that on January 4th, he acted on his impulses. This was the twisted motive that led to her death. Jurors heard about how Jalen learned that Katrina was pregnant with their third child on the day he brought Zion to his house. Messages between the couple showed how he'd lied to her about what he was doing after dropping her off at work.
And this
that
man
night,
got
Katrina
children.
felt ill, nausea, hot spells. She'd been to the emergency room earlier that day. Hours later at work, the symptoms resumed. She messaged repeatedly that she felt too sick to stay, asking him to pick her up. At 1 a.m., I think I need to come home. At 1:26, I don't feel good. Minutes later, my stomach hurts. I feel sick and keep getting hot and cold. Jalen's response, "You can make it, baby." He finally picked her up at nearly 3 a.m. When he did, she noticed something, a deep scratch across his collarbone, deep enough to draw blood. He told her the cat had scratched him. Odd, Katrina thought. The cat had never scratched that deep before. The case against Jalen was largely circumstantial, though compelling. A forensic anthropologist who reviewed Zion's medical history determined that the only condition she suffered that could possibly have led to her death was asthma. But an asthma attack would present as the exact opposite of what Jalen described. Instead of quietly passing out with a faint heartbeat, Zion would have been struggling to breathe. It would have been very clear she was in distress. The prosecution's closing argument
Oh
cut through
man.
the defense's theories. Like a knife, he brought her to his house late at night on January 4th, 2022, behind the back of his pregnant girlfriend, who was at work at the time, and she leaves that house in the trunk of his car on a night where he has an unexplained gash on his collarbone. What do you think happened inside that house that night? She died of COVID? She died of a seizure? There's a claim that he did what he did because he was afraid of getting caught for illegal substances. Afraid of getting busted for drugs? You ever heard of somebody getting rid of a body to avoid a parking ticket? Sierra Milton and the rest of Zion's family waited as the jury went into deliberations. They returned in only 30 minutes. As to count 1, how do you find guilty? As to count 2, how do you find guilty? Jalen Brazier maintained his innocence at his sentencing hearing. Her death was not in any way violent. She wasn't hurt at all, he insisted, still clinging to his story. Before announcing his decision, Judge Donald Knapp outlined the convict's failure to accept responsibility for the murder, for disposing of Zion's body, for lying to police, for causing delays in the investigation, for leaving his 2 young children alone in the house while he disposed of evidence, for manipulating and lying to family.
That's
It
life
is
right
unlikely,
there.
Judge Knapp concluded, that he will ever be rehabilitated. Jalen Brazier was sentenced to 30 to 90 years in prison for the murder and another 5 to 10 years for tampering with evidence. These terms would be served consecutively.
Man, just say life.
Sierra Milton's body trembled as the sentence was read. When it was read, it was just so matter-of-fact. I'm so happy they saw she was loved. She is loved. She was fought for. And this is the result. This is justice. Then she addressed Jalen directly. You thought you were smart. You tried to be slick. The people saw you for what you are. And I hope you never get out. Zion Foster's body has never been recovered. Over 70 volunteers and law enforcement officials searched the landfill for nearly 6 months before finally admitting defeat. Somewhere in that massive expanse of waste and refuse, a 17-year-old girl with her whole life ahead of her remains lost. As of this writing, Jalen Brazier remains at an intake facility in Wayne County, awaiting his placement in a general population prison. He'll be eligible for parole when he's in his 50s.
Man.
Given the consecutive nature of his sentences and Judge Knapp's assessment of his rehabilitation prospects, he may never see freedom again. This case serves as a chilling reminder that danger doesn't always come from strangers lurking in shadows. Sometimes it wears a familiar face. Sometimes it calls itself family. Sometimes the person you trust most is the one who means you the greatest harm. Zion Foster trusted her favorite cousin. She got into his car willingly that night. She walked into his house without fear. She never walked out.
Yeah, that's sad, man. And they never found her body. That's can't even imagine like how the mother is feeling, the family, you know. I wonder like if they real cousin, like it's so like how his parents feels, because his parents should be brothers or sisters of the mother or the father of the girl, you know? It's crazy, man. Crazy story. We're gonna watch another one, man. Real life demons among us. Yep. Literally. If you don't have the Lord in your life, there are demons praying over you, watching over you. Every open door you give access to into your life, they take that leap, literally. Once they get in, it's not easy to come out. Like, nah, you need the Lord in your life. That's the only protection you can get and the only protection you need. Oh boy. But yeah, let's watch another one. Let's see what we got here. Killer thinks he got away. Oh, look. I see one. Killer husband realizes wife is still breathing. Ooh, this one is good. 1 year ago. All right, let's watch this.
I spy on my competitors every day over coffee. Let me show you what I do.
That's
So I
not
use this
good.
website, similarweb.com. They have a 7-day free.
In the early morning hours.
So this one is titled Killer Husband Realizes Wife is Still Breathing. Imagine. Well, I'm not gonna say imagine because I don't want you to imagine that, but just like somebody's taking somebody's life, right? And then they thinking like the person is dead. And then they got a news that the person is not dead. Imagine like how that person would feel. Like, yo, no, that would be the worst feeling ever. But let's go. So let's see what this guy is up to, man. Killing your wife is crazy. Like, I've watched crime videos like this before, but it never like stopped amazing me and surprising me, like how crazy the world is, how crazy people are, how open they are to like letting evil work through them. These are things like I don't even think about. These stories are so strange to me. I've never heard of stories like that, like around like me, like where I'm from, not even in cities where I'm from, you know, like these kind of stories are crazy. The craziest story that was the nearest to me was that that girl that flew from New York to come take the life of the boyfriend's new girlfriend. That's the craziest story that was the nearest to me. But like stories like that are like strange to me. Like this is not things that you like hear or see near you, you know? So crazy. But yeah.
Hours of Valentine's Day 2019, a woman named Olivia Jones walked the aisles of a local supermarket known as HEB Plus in preparation for dinner with her husband, Chris. As she gathered the ingredients, she observed a bouquet of pink and red roses, colors that symbolize tenderness and passion. As Olivia exited the store with the roses in her cart, she was unaware that in less than 40 minutes, she would be dead. A horrible consequence of so-called toxic love. The police would find her on her bedroom floor in a quiet neighborhood in Beaumont, Texas. 11 minutes earlier, her loving husband, Chris, dialed 911.
Beaumont 911, what is the address of your emergency? Olivia! Please, hurry. Customer safety girl. Tell me what's going on. I'm at home with my wife inside the head. Please, somebody shot in the head. My wife, please. Tell me, where is she shot?
In
the head. Okay, where in the head? Take it and it went off. Okay. I want you to try to control the bleeding.
As soon as the call disconnected, officers headed on their way to the Beaumont, Texas home of Chris and Olivia, located at 5575 Pine Bur Boulevard. At 8:55 a.m., they arrived. Officer Otis Butler was met by a familiar face, 40-year-old Christopher Ray Jones, who was visibly distressed. Officer Butler was close friends with Chris and his wife, Olivia. His body cam was rolling while Chris urged the officers to hurry into the house.
Where's the gun? In there, broken down on the dresser. Come this way. Okay.
I hope she like make it through, you know. I know they say she's alive, she's still breathing.
As alluded to earlier, the officers made their way to the bedroom and found Olivia lying on the floor.
Baby!
Sir. Okay. Sit back.
I tried to take it.
Get his.
Mom!
Olivia was found face down with a gunshot wound to the back of her head. Astonishingly, she was still breathing. When the officers rolled her over, they discovered that the bullet had pierced through her right eye. The room she was found in was covered in blood, with spatter all over the walls. The paramedics arrived, and while they tended to Olivia, the police secured the area. Officer Butler had Chris walk him through the events leading up to the shooting.
What happened? We had a disagreement. And I say, baby, if you're not working with me, you're working against me. I say, we've been doing this. My 19-year-old stepdaughter was 8. My 11-year-old was 1. I said, Olivia, we can't get it together. We can't be together. Okay. We got several reasons. And I say, I just want a divorce. And her reaction was, she got the gun. I said, give me the gun. She like, I don't remember which hand. I'm like, give me that gun. What is you doing? Stop trying to scare me. I took it.
So when you grabbed it, went off?
She yanked. I grabbed it and she yanked back. And the gun went off.
Okay.
The gun went off.
Chris's story immediately set off red flags. How could such a large man be overpowered by his significantly smaller wife? Chris dropped to his knees in anguish, but there were no tears.
Bro, that's the worst thing you want to do when somebody has a loaded gun and you trying to take it from them in a heated moment. That's the worst thing you can do. Like, these are things you learn like while getting your gun license. I don't know if they do that where they at.
As he asked Officer Butler if he could go check on Olivia.
Mr. Butler, I got help.
No. You don't need to go in there, okay?
Is she alive?
Yeah, she is.
She is.
We got him.
Is she alive, Mr. Butler?
Mr. Butler, tell me right now. Yeah. Hey, don't hurry. Hey, she's alive, all right.
Please don't tell me she's alive and she's not.
Yeah, when I saw her, she was.
She was talking.
Yo, hey. His true self is coming. Now, you heard what he said? Please don't tell me she's alive. Yo, look here. Look, listen.
Please don't tell me she's alive and she's not.
Yeah, when I saw her, she was.
She was talking?
She wasn't talking.
Is she breathing?
It looked like she was breathing.
Ooh, good.
Like, don't go in there, sir. Sir. I need you to stay right here with me, okay? And calm down.
Calm down.
Upon learning that Olivia was still breathing, Chris's reaction seemed strangely devoid of relief or happiness. Another red flag for Officer Butler.
Crazy.
Back inside the home, Olivia's wounds proved to be fatal, and just after 9 a.m., she was pronounced dead. Officers searched the rest of the home and noticed that in addition to the surveillance cameras installed on the exterior of the house, there were 2 more cameras mounted in the living room, monitoring the interior of the house as well. They also discovered the gun that Olivia was shot with, a 9mm pistol covered in blood. However, they found it strange that the gun was in a different room from where the shooting took place. If Olivia was holding the gun when it went off, how did it end up in a different room? The only logical answer was that Chris must have moved it. Following this discovery, the officers decided that the best course of action was to detain Chris until they had a better understanding of what really happened. As Chris was getting handcuffed, his 19-year-old daughter, Ariel, arrived at the house. She had already been contacted by Chris, who told her what had happened. She was clearly devastated. While the officers tried to console Ariel, Chris was escorted to the back of a police cruiser.
I can
Detective
never
Mendy
understand,
Freeman
like,
and Sergeant Yvette Barrero of the forensics unit arrived at the residence.
I do understand the spiritual side of it, but for people to like allow things, especially men, like most men nowadays are not in control of their emotions. They're actually controlled by their emotions, and it's sad.
And were immediately caught up to speed.
According to him, she grabs a 9mm in their bedroom. And she did that. He claims he reached for the gun to try to get it from her. And when he reached for it, and they struggle over it, boom.
At that moment, Olivia's sister Angela arrived at the scene, and Ariel once again broke out.
Yeah, that's right. I don't get it. Like, I mean, I do get it because, like, I always think about the spiritual side of it. I get it. But the thing is, for evil to manifest in the physical, we gotta, like, give them, like, the access to our body. You know, evil only manifests through us, you know? So we have a part to play in that. We play a big part in that too. We are in control. We give over the control. So yeah, I it's crazy, man. Some people, they just let go. They they don't live in reality. Maybe they don't think about the consequences. Like, killing somebody you married to is crazy. It's always gonna be crazy to me. Like, and I don't even, these are things I don't wish on my worst enemy, you know? It's insane. Some things like, oh boy, it's, how can you say there is no, like, Satan? Like, some people don't believe in God, but yeah, these things are happening. Where do you think these behaviors are coming from, you know?
To hysterics.
Yep.
All of the evidence was collected and sent to the
Argument,
crime
all
lab.
that,
Chris was brought down
anger.
to the station where they took photos of his hands still covered in blood.
They're waiting for the lead detectives. They're going to be the ones
Hey,
that.
Jennifer, you are right on that. I'm not gonna lie. Anger, arguments, demons feed on these. These are literally the demonics, like food. That's how we feed like demons, you know? By bad energy, by being angry, sad, like mad. That's how we feed demons. And then, like you said, manifestation starts happening, you know? It's levels to it.
That actually ends. So.
When the detectives finally arrived at the station, they started Chris's interview by asking him what caused the argument. He said that he felt as if Olivia wasn't pulling her weight in the relationship.
I am very particular. If you heard that, that's true. I am very particular. You strive for the best for people. I work really hard, and I don't make excuses for myself, and I don't accept excuses for anybody else.
After telling her that he wanted a divorce, she went to the bedroom and grabbed the gun.
I just want her and hope she makes it through. Have a fully recover from like the shot to the head, because people do survive like headshots.
What did you say?
Really? You serious? Really? This is not going to solve anything.
Okay.
You know, this is not. You do not want to do that. Put that freaking gun down before you make a mistake and hurt yourself. She was crying. She was crying.
Chris handed over his cell phone, which had access to the home security camera footage.
Say you want to access just that camera. You touch that. And that's just that camera. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So far. Let's go back to
One thing I want to let you, ladies and gentlemen, know is, ladies and gentlemen, listen, before y'all get married, because marriage is supposed to like last a lifetime. So before you get married, make sure you get a godly man or a godly woman. The reason why, because when y'all get into arguments, like, it doesn't matter who's wrong or right. Y'all gonna go to God first before y'all think about divorce. Like, y'all gonna go to God. God is the solution to all of our problems, you know? That's why it's important to have a godly person in your life as a spouse, you know?
devices. And everything is labeled. Carport, backyard, front door, back door, laundry room, side garage, living room, kitchen.
The police examined this footage, hoping to corroborate Chris's story. At 8:41 a.m., Olivia can be seen going about her morning routine in the kitchen. Then, all of a sudden, the footage cuts out. 3 minutes later, at 8:44 a.m., the video is back up, and Chris is captured frantically pacing around the house while on the phone with 911. 11 minutes later...
Why was it cut out at that exact time when she was about to get shot? Interesting.
Later, at 8:55 a.m., the responding officers can be seen entering the residence. That means that Olivia must have been shot during this 3-minute gap in the footage.
Yeah.
In the interrogation room, Chris was asked why this footage was missing. He claimed that he had no idea.
We're still trying to pull up these videos here. Okay?
There's no such thing as coincidence.
Why would there be no recordings on it? I don't know. It should be. Everybody that went in that house should be on it. But like I said, the internet, you can go through days and it pretty much does it. We shouldn't have bought that. You just keep, like, you can pick whatever day you want, and it's never going to be consistent. That's why I say it was a waste of money.
Well, I'm wanting desperately to find some video on here that corroborates what you're telling us, but almost all the videos start right after this event happened.
Chris had a bunch of excuses, from internet problems to not charging the camera properly. But at this point, the detectives were taking anything Chris said with a grain of charging the camera properly. But at this point, the detective uses from internet problems.
Look, once that eye start looking up, he's trying to come up with a story. I used to be a master liar. He's trying to come up with another lie.
To not charging the camera properly. But at this point, the detectives were taking anything Chris said with a grain of salt. It seemed more likely that Chris, the only one with access to the footage, had tampered with it. Since they did not have the video, they had Chris reenact the moment that he tried to disarm Olivia.
Now go ahead and do my initial. She pulls it. Give me the. Okay, and I go. I'm sorry.
You're good.
No, you're good.
I don't
I'm
sit
sorry.
here.
I'm sorry. You're fine.
Like the chair.
I'm reliving it. How you are? I'm
Man,
reliving
get
it.
out of here, man.
So she should be shot in the back of her right head. Did you feel me twist your? Did you feel me twist?
Hey, she like look. He's digging a hole so deep he cannot get out of. I know exactly what they doing here. Like they expert. If they're not the expert, they're gonna bring it to somebody to analyze like whatever happened where she got shot at. If it line up with what the story like he's coming up with right now.
Back here.
Did you feel me twist your? I twisted.
Man,
With each question asked, it seems as if
You
Chris
going
was
to
improvising
jail.
the answer, actively
Prison
trying
for
to make the
life.
puzzle pieces fit together rather than telling the truth. The detectives ended their initial interview feeling more suspicious of Chris than ever. They then moved on to other members of the family, starting with Olivia's sister, Angela.
Olivia Jones is your sister, right? We've been talking a lot lately. We talk every day. I drop her baby to her at the tax office. She's always been timid about everything, but she was the type that whatever went on in their home, she would keep it there.
Yeah, it's kind of a private
person.
Yeah,
She loved her baby so much that she thought she had to live for them. You know, she would never.
Angela went on to reveal the extent of Chris's control over Olivia.
She can't talk on the phone after a certain time. He controlled the finances. He never wanted to be in the presence of her family reunions, anything. He never came. But she would have to step off, and when he would call, and all you could hear was him screaming and yelling on the phone. His character is agitation. Like, his character is to be aggressive. I just don't get it. Because all she wanted, my sister was a married type. All she wanted was to be loved.
Yeah.
She loved love. Like, she loved her babies. She wanted to live for her babies.
To make matters worse, Chris's ex-wife Letitia, who he initially met back in 1999, corroborated his pattern of controlling and aggressive behavior.
I met Chris Jones in 1999. It was just like a constant fight. Like, he strangled me, choked me out, drug me through the house. My skin was missing off my back. One time he bit my hand. He had this bite marks in my hand. This was what it was. If the house not clean, he's told me that he would kill me if I was to ever leave him. Told me how he would do it.
Yo. This is strange to me. People that speaks like this, like, let's say you want to actually take somebody's life, like, as somebody with a brain that works, I would not tell you this. And no, I'm not that dude, you feel me? But I'm saying, if you was that type of person, why would you tell the person that you would do this to them? That's all. That's on a whole nother level, like right there. You feel me? Like, and it's stupid. It's ridiculous. That's why I can't understand it.
The reason I never said anything or went for help was because I was extremely in fear of my life. Because I knew and I felt in my heart that he would kill me.
And most damning of all were the allegations made by Olivia's daughter Ariel during her interview. She explained what it was like living at the house with her mom and Chris.
One time they were arguing and I heard her say she couldn't breathe. I would see bruises on her. It broke her down to the point where she believed what he said.
Mm-hmm.
You won't be nothing without me, stuff like that.
Right.
Everybody knows my mom. Everybody knows my mom. Everybody knows that we were her world.
With each person interviewed, the allegations against Chris were stacking higher and higher. They doubled back with him, urging him to tell the truth about what actually happened to the missing footage.
To be honest, stuff videos.
I look guilty.
No,
I'm not deleting those videos. I look guilty.
Not if you say right now, what you just said a while ago. I freaked out. I panicked. I did some stuff I shouldn't have done. Is that one of them?
Yes.
How many did you delete?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just afraid of being blamed for something I did do something that looks really bad on me.
Yo, hey, I remember as a kid, I wanted to be like a police officer, and I wanted to make detective. Ooh, I would have had a field day. Yeah, because to me, like, it's so easy to read people. That's why I don't have like friends. It's so easy to read people and see what people like want from you. And everybody wants something from you. And when somebody is genuine, it's easy for me to see that. And I have those people in my life, so I am grateful for that, you know? It's so easy to read people, like, especially like this guy right here, like, you are guilty, dude. You acting like this because you caught. Everybody else is telling a whole different story from who you are. Really, really.
Confession was a much-needed win for the detectives. There was still no trace of those crucial 3
Discernment,
minutes of footage. However, the detectives did their due diligence. They spent the days combing through all available footage from the house to see for themselves what daily life was like for the Jones family. In these recordings, the true nature of Chris and Olivia's relationship was on full display.
Then you're gonna be looking stupid.
Oh boy.
Look on the floor. Look on the floor. Look on the floor, White. Look on the floor. Look on the floor.
What
Look
the?
on the floor. Look on that. How is that like that? You're not paying attention.
What the?
Okay, leave.
You wasn't worried about the son of a bitch a minute ago. That's your mother.
Yo.
Look at me like that, bitch. I'm not playing with you. Lazy. You want to do some shit, not enough? Give it here. You got all the goddamn answers. You don't do a goddamn thing around this.
No, that dude have big problems. Now, you want to talk about a menace to society? This guy, he is that.
Right. This your ass,
I
bitch.
know I was gonna be.
That's clean this. That's clean.
I didn't want to. They fell on the floor, so I didn't want to reuse them.
You look at it. You don't pay attention to what you're doing.
Bro, this guy is talking to his wife like this.
You all over the place, Olivia. You ain't got the chance to claim your off. Food on the wall. Who you burning now?
Me?
Harriet don't live here. It's you. It's always been you.
Chris would take any chance that he could to bully Olivia, constantly putting her worth into question, even humiliating her in front of her own daughter.
When I got the show ass, you didn't have a job.
You collected unemployment. You just had cough. If most men in this world want a woman that got what? You wouldn't be doing it if I wouldn't have got upset. You would have bagged that. Life would be so much easier for me if you start thinking. You do dumb because you don't think.
This footage shed light on Chris's true colors and confirmed the allegations of abuse from Olivia's family. Detectives also looked into Chris's criminal records and discovered that he had a history of violent charges, including multiple assaults in 1996 and a domestic assault in 1998, which landed him in jail for a brief period of time. Even though they were still waiting for ongoing forensic analysis results, authorities believed that they had enough evidence to place charges against Chris.
News this morning, a Beaumont man is now facing murder charges in a Valentine's Day shooting of his wife. Police say this man, Christopher Ray Jones, who worked as a correctional counselor at the Beaumont Federal Prison, killed his wife, Olivia.
Chris was charged with first-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter in April of 2019. But unexpectedly, within 24 hours after being charged, he was released on a $150,000 bond and was put under house arrest with a GPS monitor.
Now, a man charged with murdering his wife is back at their home.
40-year-old Christopher Ray Jones was arrested and charged with shooting his wife in the face on Valentine's Day. His bond was set at $150,000. He paid and is now out.
Many taking to social media to voice their concerns, stating things like, "Can't believe he's out on a $150,000 bond. That's crazy. What's wrong with our system?" And "Can't believe they would make his bond so low that he got out. He should not be walking the streets."
While out on bail, Christopher was allowed to continue operating the Jones family business, a food truck called One Plate at a Time. The judge allowed Chris to work while out on bail since the food truck is directly beside his home. However, this decision was controversial amongst Olivia's family and the community. They knew Chris was the only person with Olivia at the time of her death, and they all seemed to believe that he had killed her.
This food truck on Concord Road in Beaumont is a hot topic on social media. It's not generating rave reviews from many, but condemnation from a grieving family.
I don't see how would anyone want to support someone who murdered their wife on Valentine's Day, which is a day that we are supposed to celebrate love. And the day that she was going to celebrate that with him, he decides to take her life.
Chris's image was tainted even further when the results from the crime lab came in. The bloodstain patterns at the crime scene indicated that the gunshot wound could not have happened in the way that Chris described it. Additionally, investigators found no gunshot residue on Olivia's hands, indicating that there was no way she was holding the gun when it went off. There was, however, gunshot residue on Chris's hands and clothing. Despite all of the evidence pointing towards Chris, he pled not guilty to his charges. But before his
the evidence don't lie, Chris.
Trial would take place, Olivia's family held a gathering to honor her memory.
This Valentine's Day,
Praying for you. Thank you.
purple and red balloons.
What happened, Jennifer? Oh yes. Sorry for your loss, all right? Keep on going, sister. She is with the Lord. Yes, indeed. Oh yeah. Catch me next Saturday. Thank you though. Thank you for watching my videos. And yes, this is just the beginning, all right? The Lord will comfort you and he will be with you every step of the way. Keep faith, sister.
Filled Rogers Park.
Purple means domestic violence, and red was one of her favorite colors.
1 year ago today, Joshua Simmons lost his sister.
Valentine's Day was one of her favorite holidays.
I would give almost anything to have her back right now.
What has this year been like for you and your family?
If you can wrap it up in one word, it would be frustrated.
Frustrated with the fact that Jones isn't behind bars. Now the family wants to raise awareness for domestic violence, but more than anything, they want justice for Olivia.
We want him to spend the rest
Wait, hold on. Did she like die?
of his life in prison, while my sister spend the rest of her life in the grave.
Wow.
After finally having an opportunity to celebrate Olivia's life, her loved ones would once again have to face her death during Chris's upcoming trial. The courtroom was packed with family members from both sides. It had been over 3 years since Olivia's death, and despite the clear tension between the two families, they all wanted the same thing: justice for Olivia. Prosecutors Jimmy Ham and Mike Laird described Chris as an abusive partner with a violent past, and it was only a matter of time before something like this happened. Chris's defense attorney, Ryan Gertz, argued that Chris only grabbed the gun because Olivia was recklessly handling the weapon, putting both herself and Chris in a dangerous predicament. Forensic pathologist Celestina Rossi provided critical bloodstain analysis and confirmed that Olivia did not have any gunshot residue on her, contradicting the defense's claims that
This is another Dexter right here. Blood spatter.
her death was merely an accident. The testimonies and evidence combined ultimately overpowered the defense team. And on February 8th, 2022, Christopher Ray Jones was found guilty for the murder of his wife, Olivia Jones.
Yes.
1,118 days. That's how long Olivia Jones's family says they've waited for this moment. The moment when Olivia's husband, Christopher Jones, was found guilty of murder. Olivia died at the hands of her husband on Valentine's Day 2019, and instead of spending a lifetime behind bars,
we elected to agree with the state to a 30-year sentence because of the potential risk of, an even higher sentence.
in exchange, Christopher waived his right to appeal the conviction. After the judge
Man,
handed
already
down
got
the
what
sentence,
here?
Olivia and Christopher's two daughters took the stand. Looking directly at their father, they described the impact of Olivia's death. The youngest daughter, who was only 11 when her mother died, said, quote, "I'll forgive you one day, but right now I can't." Throughout the trial, the prosecution described a history of abuse that finally blew up. Defense attorney Ryan Getz argued a different version of events.
I think that we'll never know what happened in that room. Ultimately, my impression from the jurors is,
yeah, I could have never been a lawyer. Like, nah, you did it, buddy. Like, nah.
That they just didn't believe Chris's version of events, and that really only left the one alternative.
This was an emotional day for Olivia's family. As they were leaving the courtroom, they were encouraging each other, saying, "Today was all about Olivia, and she won."
Christopher Jones is currently serving his sentence in the John M. Wynn Unit in Huntsville, Texas.
That's it. What are your thoughts about this case? Well, my thoughts are, if you married somebody, you're their protector, okay? That even like if y'all going through things, like know that certain emotion is going to come up. But as a man, you're supposed to be in control with your of your emotions. That's one thing like most men lack today, is being in control of their emotions, But yeah, I'm happy. Like, he should have got life, but it is what it is, right? But yeah, let me see. But yeah, I'm gonna cut it short here, okay? I know I got on live like a little late, but yeah, it's crazy, man. Now, 2 kids. I won't say parentless because they still got their fathers in their life. Not in their life, but he's in prison, but he's still alive, but how close can you get with somebody that did something like that, Kill your own mother. I wish they do forgive him one day, though. It can be hard at that time when it just happened. It's so recent, and they're young. He put all that on the kids. That's one thing, like, most people don't realize until it's too late. And that is, your actions affects the people around you. So when people do things like this, at that moment, they only thinking of their self and allowing their emotions to take over. When you let your emotion control you, oh boy, you're just a ticking time bomb. That's all it is. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. This was a sad story, actually, like crazy, but yeah, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so I can stay notified. Catch me in the next live next Saturday at nighttime. No specific time, but nighttime. All right. But yeah, I am out. Peace.